Huey Lewis and the news said it best. That's the power of rankings. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Cameron Stewart of Locked On Baylor, who joins every week without any bias to talk about the power rankings that I lay out for you. And that's exactly where we will start with our power rankings today. Then ESPN's RPI, which is used for the college football playoff, by the way, is fake and stupid and bad and just not good. Also stupid and bad and not good at all. Colorado and the F the Mormons chant they gave on Saturday. First and foremost, from the passing of the president of the church to a shooting in Michigan and a church set ablaze. Our thoughts go out to the LDS community, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, whether you're a BYU fan, a Utah fan, Arizona fan, any fan in this conference. I'm wearing the BYU hat in solidarity today. Our thoughts are certainly with you. It's a heavy show here on a Monday, but our job, talk about sports. And we'll give you that third segment in the context of sports and how the Big 12 should crack down on that. If you hit subscribe, we get to keep our jobs. Let's go to the power rankings to begin today's show. Number 1 in the Locked On Big 12 power rankings. Give me the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Any qualms? We'll start there. They had a bye week. Felt like they did a really good job this week. 0 points.
Thought they won the bye week.
Yep. Texas Tech's won. I think they still have the best win in the Big 12 considering how bad they beat Utah.
Yeah.
And we continue to learn Utah's not a bad football program. Texas Tech may just be head over heels that much better than another contender in the Big 12 conference. However, I think we saw from Iowa State this weekend. I'm not buying Arizona, by the way. I wasn't buying Arizona, so I don't love this win as much as some people do over Noah Fafita and company. Iowa State winning 39-14. They're second in the power rankings, BYU at 3rd, Utah at 4. Houston is at 5, my Big 12 power rankings. I'm still a believer. We've seen even schools like Iowa State have ugly wins against crappy schools, Iowa State against Arkansas State. But let's start here. Texas Tech at 1, Iowa State at 2. That's where I think the gap starts. After that, it's like, all right, from there, there's a hodgepodge, but those are 1 and 2, and I don't think you can really argue that.
Yeah, those are the teams that have proven themselves the most comfortably, right? With Iowa State and Tech, they're 2 undefeated teams who have some signature wins. Because then after that, you do get into the undefeated team like a BYU that just doesn't have a signature win, kind of through no fault of their own. So yes, Iowa State, Tech, I think comfortably ahead as the top 2 teams, especially with a TCU loss. If they had beaten Arizona State on the road, like that maybe changes things. Maybe that puts them up to number 2 this week. Maybe it just lessens the gap between 2 and 3. But yes, those 2 comfortably ahead.
I still undefeated, by the way, top 25 BYU. I believe that Utah should be a top 25 team in the country right now, just because they lost on the road to a top 15 at home. To a top 15 team doesn't mean they should be doxed the way that they have. But I've got BYU at 3, still undefeated. Utah at 4, Houston at 5. We saw both BYU and Houston lose in pretty ugly fashion this week. But as they say in football, I think Baylor is another example of this week. A win is a win.
Yes, that certainly was the theme of my postgame show after Baylor only won by 18 against Oklahoma State. Yeah, and then specifically with power rankings, it's a win, man. You get points for winning. I will say, unless you're Arizona.
Do you think that BYU feels any worse about themselves in that locker room? Do you think the fan base is like, oh, no, we're bad? I mean, you won.
Yeah, I actually think they should probably feel good because all of our talks around BYU are around Barrett Bachmeier, right? And you look at that stat line and that's what he was giving you the first 3-4 weeks. And now he did it on the road in a conference game. That's where you're like, okay, he's still not going to light you up with his arm, but they're going to be a damn efficient offense. And we can take the level of competition up a notch from, the Portland States of the world and the Stanfords of the world, which are about the same place, and then take it up to a road conference game. That's a nice feeling to have of we can keep this going. It remains to be seen whether that's going to be able to beat one of the top 5, 6, or 10 teams in the conference. But so far, so good. That's passing the test.
Yeah. Arizona State is at 6 for me this week. They don't jump Houston. Houston, again, still undefeated. We watched Arizona State have a clunky road game where they lost. Houston had a clunky road game where they won. Houston still 5 to me. Their defense is analytically like Arizona State's not elite at anything right now.
Yeah.
Houston's defense is elite in multiple facets. Cincinnati at 7, very impressive win. Their loss to Nebraska doesn't look better and better because Nebraska might just be a middling Big Ten team. So we're going to have to see Cincinnati win more down the stretch for them to move up. But they're still in the top half of the Big 12 at 7. I have TCU at 8. I think Arizona State, Cincinnati, TCU, maybe even Houston are all pretty even, by the way. Head-to-head wise, I think each of those schools would play a pretty good one-score game. And from there, the back half. 9, Arizona. They're not dead in the water, but they're maybe a 6-6, 7-5 school. Then, which, by the way, we watched Arizona State lose to Cincinnati last year and win the Big 12 championship, go to the college football playoff. So Arizona is not dead. Baylor is at 10 for me. Let's stop on your Bears for a second before we get to 11. Kansas. I watched the whole game, every snap, and this was this and Long Island are 2 really bad feelings after a Baylor win over the last few years.
Yeah, I guess. I felt worse after that Long Island one. I just knew that they were not going to be competitive at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this one, I will say it's a win. It's a win by 18 points on the road, right? So let's take that for what that is. But then take it a step further. Oklahoma State's one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in Power 4. 115th ranked offense in the country, the worst in Power 4, and they still went for 450 yards of offense against Baylor, which is just not a good look. The way I kind of put it in the postgame, Drake, was this was supposed to be a get-right game, and they won. They won comfortably. They really weren't in danger of losing this game at any point, but it doesn't feel like you got right. I don't feel right after that game. That said, they won by 18. Arizona lost by 25. But apparently, Drake Toll logic, Arizona's better.
Yeah, so the Arizona lost the number 2.
Because they beat Kansas State? Come on. Only UCF can't do that.
Arizona lost to the number 2 team in my power rankings, Iowa State. Baylor beat the number 16 team in the power rankings, but didn't look very good doing it. Frankly, I thought they looked porous doing it. And namely because your defense, once again, did not show me anything that I should be confident in. Baylor's defense is not a good defense, and they're losing players. From a bad defense, the bad guys keep getting hurt. And so I can't trust Baylor moving forward. I have them at 10, plenty of opportunity to move up.
I mean, Cincinnati beat your 11th ranked team by what, 3?
Yes.
Now we're getting down in the weeds here.
Very tight game.
3 beat 12 by 3.
Yes, 3 beat 12 by 3 on the road.
All I'm asking is flipping 9 and 10. That's all I'm even asking at this point.
Baylor can be 9, Arizona can be 10. I'm sure there are people already burning couches over
the top 10. In the top 10.
Kansas 11, Colorado 12. Here's that's the bowl cutoff. Like 11 Kansas, Colorado 12 is the bowl cutoff. After that at Kansas State. You know what though? Maybe Kansas State can make a bowl game.
Yeah, like there's yes, there's still talent on that team. That's the thing. There's still talent.
I said it on the show last week. The most talented 1-3 team in the country. They are. Personnel-wise, roster, they're the most talented. One in terms of most talented. It's such a joke. It's real. Like someone has to be. Law of averages.
It was the same logic that a lot of Utah fans and Vegas put on Utah this year, right? Like they were the most talented 4-8 team in America last year. And that might prove to be kind of right. Kansas is confusing to me. Kansas might be the most confusing team in the conference. I don't know if they're good or not. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they could pull Arizona State as well. Arizona State.
Because like Cincinnati looks good. They're undefeated. Is that even a bad loss that they lost at home in a game where they just had plenty of opportunities? You know what I mean? They're undefeated in the Big 12. Yes, sorry. They did lose to Matt Rule.
13 Kansas State, 14 UCF, 15. I mean, it's just
tough. It's not going the right direction, is it?
15 West Virginia, and then 16 Oklahoma State. Still number 1 Texas Tech, 2 Iowa State, 3 BYU, 4 Utah, 5 Houston, 6 Arizona State. At the 7 spot, Cincinnati. TCU comes in at 8. The back half, Arizona 9, Baylor 10. Flip them if you want to. I don't care. 11 Kansas, 12 Colorado, Kansas State at 13, and UCF at 14. 15 and 16 are West Virginia and Oklahoma State. Coming up, FPI. I would rather just open-toed shoe, step on a nail. Locked on Big 12. Today's show is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Look, I have to stay up every Saturday night until the last game ends. And when the last game ends, I'm not tired. Why am I not tired? 17 flavors of 5 Hour Energy. Sometimes I just mix them all up. I just do like a little bloop, a little dollop of all 17 into a little vat. Then I mix it, red Solo cup, take it like a shot, and then bam, ready to go every Saturday night to bring you content every Sunday morning. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. It's like a 12-ounce cup of coffee plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. I love their infusion flavor. The lime comes through beautifully, and it's just like it refreshes you with only being 2 ounces. You can take it to the airport. So enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in-store and online. www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. www.5hourenergy.com. He is Cameron Stewart of Locked On Baylor. It's time to do what I love to do best, and that is just rag on ESPN's coverage of college football. Because once again, they've done it. They pitched an RPI this week that just sucks, and we're going to use the RPI for the college football playoff. We always do. It's like a metric that they love to lean on. This is from On3, the graphic. College football's ESPN RPI, and it is awesome. Awesome that we don't see a Big 12 team in this suck. We don't see Iowa State at all. We don't see a Big 12 team until we get to 18th BYU. So while other people are like, BYU is like 8th best in the Big 12, ESPN, and I don't think BYU is number 1, ESPN does. I want to know what the metric follows. I want to know what it follows. Like Texas Tech is blowing everyone out. They're at 20th in RPI. Where is Arizona State? Where is Iowa State? They've beaten so many Power 5 teams, Power 4, sorry, but they just don't show up in the RPI.
Yes. And to go further than our conference, I mean, a team in the top 3, like they were putting for sale signs on the coach's lawn last week in Alabama. Yeah. And like they're still a darling. But Texas Tech.
Didn't they lose to Florida State, who's 24th in RPI?
Yes, they did. They lost by 2 touchdowns to that team, as a matter of fact. Where is Virginia? That's what I'm wondering. Yeah. But Texas Tech is so high up on all of those efficiency rankings that we love looking at throughout the week. Tech and BYU are both darlings of the efficiency ratings, yeah. and they're beating everybody. They're both undefeated and sitting down there at 18. But did you see Mizzou against UMass though?
I did.
USC loses again, and here they are at 10.
10. They lost to Illinois. Where's Illinois on this ranking? Do you see them? They're not on there.
What?
It's stunning. At the end of the year, you know what's going to happen? Oh, no. Oh, I forgot. You know who the spokesperson is for the college football playoff this year?
You mean the chair?
Chair
of that committee?
It's not I do know. It's not Boo Corrigan. It's not Kirk Schultz. It's the University of Baylor athletic director, Mack Rhoades the Fourth.
Makota Rhoades, yep.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's going to sit there in that chair and he's going to say, well, you know, we've been taking a long look at the RPI. And
he's going to love Auburn, man. He's going to love Auburn.
Oh, for sure. It's like a treehouse. You know, it's funny. A treehouse is just, in essence, you holding your dead best friend. They cut down another tree, and eternally you have to just hold that thing there and watch its carcass rot away over the course of hundreds of years. That's wheeling out Mack Rhoades in front of the cameras and saying, Mac, why do you have Vanderbilt in the college football playoff over undefeated Iowa State? He's going to go, well, the RPI.
And then everyone else will look and say, look, we had a Big 12 guy. He had a Big 12 guy at the head of the table. I don't know what you want from us.
And Paul Feinbaum is just going to love Mack Rhoades. Paul Feinbaum is going to he needs to be an AD in the SEC immediately. Stat. We need to get this guy to Alabama.
He's gonna complain first that the now 8-4 Arkansas Razorbacks are not in the playoff, but then he will get to Mack Rhoades being in the SEC.
Under slick Bobby, man. Bobby's back. BMFP in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, I you know what? I don't disagree with Oregon at 1. They look like a national championship team, went on the road in a very tough place to play and beat Penn State. At the same time, I think Penn State probably shouldn't be 11. They're probably still a top 6 or 7 team in the country despite losing to number 1. You lost to number 1. Texas, the AP poll continues to drop Texas, which is one of the few things they do correctly, because they haven't looked good.
No.
They really haven't looked good. So I don't know why FPI, when schools like BYU or Texas Tech or Utah are graded efficiency-wise in the top 10 of the country defensively, like why does the FPI value Texas over schools that have the actual numbers when Texas hasn't really played anyone since they lost week 1?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, I think, what it comes down to the most. Like, and that's what we've heard for years and years. Like, who have they played? I mean, that went too far when it just became, who did they lose to? Oh, damn, that's a good loss. Like, burying the lead, Tech went on the road,
yes,
and beat one of these FPI top 25 teams by 24 points.
Yeah,
like. I'm not getting the math here. Like, I'm not really understanding what makes you impressive in FPI. That sounded like FBI. I don't want them coming after me. But like, how do you not have a Big 12 team in the top 10 at all? Like when that happened, that happened. Tech destroyed another team that you respect in here. This metric respects in Utah.
Notre Dame, number 5 in the country, six in the country. They lost at home to number 16 on this list, Texas A&M.
Yeah, they did.
It's as if
they lost to another team that's behind them. They lost to Miami, who's behind them. But A&M is 10 spots behind them, and they lost to them at home.
It is as if the actual games themselves, and stop me if you've heard this one before, don't matter.
What?
The results don't matter. Notre Dame could end up 9-3 with a loss to USC later, and they'll say, well, they're FPI number 2 in the country.
It's a process-based ranking, for sure.
Do you know who televises the college football playoff? 4 letters.
You mean someone is getting a month's worth of live sports content out of this? Surely it can't be the same network that's doing this. It
would help them if Indiana wasn't in this, and if Texas Tech or BYU or Utah was not a part of the show. Iowa State. Honestly, it would help if Vanderbilt wasn't. They'll probably kick out Vanderbilt.
Yes,
too.
it would. Yeah,
they're gonna dock Vanderbilt as well. It's crazy to me that we're going to let ESPN continue to hold a monopoly over college football through silly metrics like the FPI and their hold on all the college football playoff games. Coming up,
teams that get in, and they would love all of those top 12.
They'll probably just put Boise State.
They could sub in 13. They could sub in 15, and that would butter their bread.
Tell me, like, you know what, guys? Boise State gets more viewership than any group of 5, so we'll just put them in there. Just let them have it. Coming up, I think the Big 12's got to change policy on the way that we treat BYU, the way that we treat Utah, the way that we treat a religion, a faith. This is Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by Quo. Look, you've heard of Quo before, formerly named OpenPhone. Now it's Quo. It's shorter, easier to say, right? It's one of those tools that helps make a huge difference for business owners. Quo takes every missed call, the money left on the table, and fixes that for you, keeps you connected 24/7. Number 1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications, works right through an app on your phone or computer. No more carrying 2 phones or relying on a landline. I love how Quo, formerly OpenPhone, lets your team share one number and collaborate on calls and texts like a shared inbox, so no customers get left hanging. See why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly OpenPhone. Get started and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/LockedOnCollege. Quo.com, Quo.com/LockedOnCollege. If you got an existing number with another service, Quo will port them over with no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. It's my passive income. I go to FanDuel and I say, hey, I think Utah's going to win by a lot of points this week. And they do, and I get money. NFL and college football is here. FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet. Put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, tried player props, even followed the live lines during games. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. FanDuel.com to download the app and do it today. First and foremost, kind of heavy stuff here. I know it's typically a sports show, but the anti-Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints chants that we heard at Arizona last year, or we heard in basketball against Providence, or that we've heard across the country for years now of a Big 12 member, is something that the Big 12 Conference has not addressed. The idea that Colorado fans used a choice four-letter word, starts with F, and then the Mormons, which, by the way, the irony there, they're not Mormons. It's the Book of Mormon, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And the weight that it carries when hate speech against a religion is parlayed in the same weekend with a tragedy in Michigan where there was a shooting at a church and the church is set ablaze, where the president of the church passed away, President Nelson, this weekend. Neither you or myself, wearing a BYU hat in solidarity, neither you or myself are members of the LDS faith. Mm-hmm. And we both have an affinity and appreciation for BYU, for Utah, for the Arizona fans, the Arizona State fans, the Oklahoma State fans who are members of the church and practice with the church. But to know, like I know people who reached out to me. I know people who tweeted stuff out about, hey, this Colorado fan base was worse than we've seen in a long time. From F the Mormons to female staffers for BYU that were being sexually harassed to the things that were yelled and hurled that are based around a faith. It's a lot of this is ignorance and misunderstanding. So here's what I want to come. Here's what I want to come from and attack this with is one. I think if there was ever F the Catholics, the Baptists, the Jews, it immediately the school was fined hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Probably, yeah.
Students are expelled. There is a complete and utter harsh reprimand over those that are caught doing it. And it's put to bed against Baylor, against Notre Dame, against anybody in the country. When it happens to BYU, there's not even a slap on the wrist. There's no Big 12 comment. Like there's no fine imposed here. What the Big 12 is telling us right now is, hey, if you discriminate against a faith, that's fine. We don't count that if it's against BYU or Utah or the myriad of players who represent Big 12 programs that are practicing members of the church. That, to me, rubs me the wrong way, especially on a weekend where so many heavy things are happening around the BYU or Utah or other LDS communities.
Yeah, it sucks, man. It rubs me the wrong way, mainly because of like what our conference is made up of too, of like a bunch of places that are not top of, tourist destinations in the US, truck stop conference, definitely well within the Bible Belt, right? Like, I mean, obviously there's BYU that's LDS, there's Baylor that's Baptist, but everyone in this conference for the most part, like we're in a very religious part of the country. And so it's like, I don't know why it's cool to go after one religion and not another. And that's what, and you mentioned it, like this has happened multiple times with BYU. And I'm sitting here as a Baylor fan, not to say like, oh, let's make it about us, but it's like, what's to stop Colorado from just saying F the Baptists? Right. You know what I mean? And how would we feel about that? It's easy to be like, oh, haha, like they're dunking on one of our opponents, but it's like, who's to say that's not going to happen to us? Man, a couple of years ago, Baylor and TCU were thinking, and Tech too, were thinking that like the Pac-12 is not going to take us in because Baylor and TCU are religious schools, and Tech is to the Pac-12 people in this backwards part of the country. Why would we let them in? They don't align with us. And here is an actual Pac-12 school that we have let in with open arms, doing it to another school that came in at the same time that actually really embraces being a part of this conference, that really likes being a part of this conference. And by the way, does amazing stuff wherever they go. Okay, so I guarantee you this week in Colorado that the BYU Alumni Association did some sort of charity drive in Boulder because they do it to every city they go to. Yes, and BYU TV makes special features about athletes that play at Colorado the whole week, not just football players, but like a swimmer with a great story. They elevate the schools that they play and they elevate the communities that they go to. And to then go to a game and hear that crap, man, like it's just BS. Like that sucks, man. And I haven't gauged the rest of the conference on this, but I'm sure every other fan base is looking at Colorado and being like, dude, what are you doing? Yeah. Like that's not cool. And well, to your point, adds to a lot of other bad things that happened this weekend for that faith. It just sucks, man, because we know plenty of BYU people and we see what they do in these communities. It's not even one of their rivals, man. Like it's not. It's not that that makes it acceptable, but you know what I mean. They're just throwing it out there because they think it's a bunch of drunk kids at 8:15 kickoff and an 8:15 kickoff thinking it's hilarious. It sucks, man. It really sucks.
This is something you would expect out of the Pac-12. This is something the Pac-12 has given, from Colorado, Arizona. There's a list of fan bases that they've had at Stanford, Oregon, USC, Arizona. Again, it's happened. There are fan bases. This has happened with against BYU. Now it's controlled because we are all the Big 12. That's the biggest issue with this for me is that the Big 12 conference has not said, hey, we're going to have a fine. And it is established that if you're hosting Notre Dame, if you're hosting Baylor, if you're hosting TCU, so even for you and myself, not members of the church, but also guys of faith, like I try not to mention religion on this it's a sports podcast. Mm-hmm. Here's where it crosses over into sports and where the Big 12 has to take a stand and take action on something like this, because if you don't, it continues to happen. It festers to the point where ignorance is further spread and there's no stop put to it. So look, the stupid, drunk Colorado kids that are chanting this had no idea about the death of the church's president, had no idea about the shooting that would come on Sunday. And I'm not going to double down on them and say that they're evil people because they had no idea. They're just drunk Colorado fans. But if we don't, as a conference, take a stand over things like this, then it only festers to the point where those schools that you let into this league that have done it before, or the schools across the country that were in the Pac-12, or Providence out of the Big East that continue to do this, are allowed to get away with it. And it furthers this idea that those, and again, I don't want this to become a completely religious conversation. It's more about the reprimand that should come against things that overtake sports, that are bigger than sports, and when fan bases cross the line. But genuinely, I think most of the conference might not understand, like, oh, well, that the Mormons, as they say, it's a whole different religion. Like, No, their entire basis is the exact same thing as the Protestants and the Catholics. The root thing that everyone talks about is the exact same thing here. They all believe in that one centralized thing. Past that, it's how you get there that may differ a little bit, but it doesn't mean they're a separate religion entirely. So it's a lack of understanding and ignorance. And if we allow it to happen without comment from the conference, without the conference standing up for BYU, I think that's a big miss for a league that should embrace one of the bigger brands that we have. Yeah, and beyond religion too, Drake. It's I don't know, what if they just said F the name your racial class there? Sure, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or whatever ethnicity or whatever part of the country they're from. It's kind of the same thing. Or what if they just said F the women? That's not acceptable. Especially before marriage. Yes, exactly. So why would this be acceptable? And so far, it's been acceptable. It has been accepted. And that just sucks because again, looking at it in the eyes of a Baylor fan who wants to say, we don't go somewhere, and they say F the Baptist or F the Methodist or for another school. You know what I mean? It's just, it sucks. And especially for a sport like college football that does elevate a lot of, underappreciated parts of the country. A lot of marginalized groups in this country are lifted up through college football much more than professional sports or politics or art or literature. To hear that happen there too, it's a very holier than thou thing from a school and a football program that somewhat through no fault of their own, has been seen as very holier than thou since they got here in the conference. We talk about Utah, but Colorado gets all this coverage with Deion Sanders, and they don't even make a Big 12 championship game. They were 4-8 the first year, and he wins Sportsman of the Year. It's very holier than thou from a school fan base that feels very holier than thou, and they don't even really want to be here, and they're clearly showing it. Yeah, that's the soapbox. Happened to the Arizona game, and I just think if two things, Brett Mark. One, please, some sort of guardrail on religious discrimination in this conference. Two, just bring back normal rivalries in football, to let there be pods or something. I mean, those are my two big things that I want to give to the commissioner right now, if I could give him anything. And a octagon tiebreaker after double overtime. Head coaches, just the head coaches. Good. Man, BYU would soar up those power. Yeah, rankings. Dave's hurt, man. BYU win the conference if that's all it came down to. Whittingham is Gundy would have been fun. Gundy would have been really fun.
Matt Campbell is spry.
Yeah.
Former lineman, too. That would be a battle.
Willie Fritz is just going to be sad.
That'd be tough.
It's just going to be sad.
That'd be tough.
That's Cameron Stewart of Locked On Baylor. This has been and always will be Locked On. Thanks for making our shows your first listen every single day. A crossover with Baylor and Dose Grande.